country, talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how it started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King saying, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. He's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. I feel it. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. God has. I want to scream, y'all. I want to scream, y'all. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. But the fact of the matter is, Rosa Parks was not only the mother of the modern civil rights movement, she was the mother of this nation. Why would you say that, Sharpton? Because you called George Washington the father of the nation, but when he became father, we wasn't included in the nation. Women were not included in the nation. The first time we had a parent in this nation is when all of us was included, and Rosa Parks did that on December 1st, 1955. I heard somebody say Jim Crow is who she fought, and Jim Crow is still around. But Jim Crow is old. That's not who I'm mindful of today. The problem is Jim Crow has sons. The one we got to battle is James Crow Jr. Esquire. He's a little more educated. He's a little slicker. He's a little more polished. But the results are the same. He doesn't put you in the back of the bus. He just puts referendums on the ballot to end affirmative action when you can't go to school. He doesn't call you erase your name. He just marginalizes your existence. He doesn't tell you that he's set against you. He sets up institutional racism, where you have a nation respond looking for weapons in Iraq that are not there, but can't see a hurricane in Louisiana that is there.
Crow Jr. Esquire. That's who we got to fight. And if we are to win, if we are to really memorialize Rosa Parks, she would tell us to do in the generation of his son what she and Dr. King did to his daddy. They didn't talk a fight, they fought the fight. They didn't show up at funerals, they showed up on the picket line.
Reverend Al Sharpton joined the growing chorus of voices demanding accountability in Jordan Neely's death, drawing attention to two other men who appeared to have played a role in restraining the 30-year-old.
I'm looking at the video. You got one man choking and the other holding him down. They all need to be in front of a grand jury. No justice.
And now,
you there, sir?
Because number one, so
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Al Sharpton.
You are live.
It's Monday, October the 6th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners, and welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York, and for the next 3 hours, you can join the conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on our live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and then go to live stream, and you can put a message in like they're already doing in the message board on this Hot Button Monday. James Thomas saying, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton and Nan family. I hope your birthday was a good one, Reverend. I celebrated my 50th, and it was wonderful. I would also like to send a special shout out to Tony. You talk about Tony, I'll pick on at the Saturday Action rallies. And I'm sure we have Triumph Awards tonight. I'm sure Tony will be there. Kennedy Marie Shabazz, good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. God bless you, and I love you. I love you back. Janet Overall, good afternoon, everyone. Have a great day. And Darrell Prunty, Darrell Prunty says, praise the Lord, Reverend Al Sharpton. We've got to get up and move till sunrise. No justice, no peace. No doubt about that. A lot is happening. We are still in the middle of the shutdown. Our U.S. government workers are suffering. And the people that depend on them, businesses, and I think that it is clear that when you look at the fact that the Democrats are standing up, because if they do not agree, not make the Republicans agree to extend to not bothering the health care in the Affordable Care Act, 11 million people will immediately lose their Medicare. 11 million. That's what the fight is over. So we got a lot to talk about. The shutdown continues. Congress has gone home. Frederick McLeod is saying on the message board, the moment has come. 47 is looking to have Politics Nation without Sharpton off the air. On my opinion, you have been handling him with kid gloves. Well, I'm not handling him with kid gloves. I'm just letting him beat himself up. He tweeted last night when I got off the air, a lot of NBC ought to have a license challenge. First of all, MSNBC is not licensed. It's on cable. So he talking crazy and saying that our ratings was low. We in the top 10 rated shows on MSNBC. So I choose my fights, Frederick. Let me put it that way. When you got a guy where the facts won't stand up, the facts beat him. I'd rather choose fighting him over DEI and what he's doing in the Middle East, rather than fight over my show that really ain't much he can do about it anyway. And that ain't the first time he fought me. He went to great lengths now. He went and found an old picture of me when I was 300 pounds, put it all up. Can you imagine President of the United States got time to do all that stuff? It's telling. But I appreciate the concern. And I think that if we had a problem, people would rally behind it. Let me say that the shutdown is of major concern. The federal employees, if this keeps going, they will not get paid. They will get furloughed. And if they cave in, what happens to the health care of millions of Americans? Then we see at the same time Illinois, Texas National Guard troop mobilization to Chicago to begin immediately and last 60 days. And I had the mayor of Chicago on and the state attorney general of Illinois on. They intend to fight this, but the National Guard mobilization is in effect going into Chicago. And they did a military-style raid on a South Shore apartment, and Congress members and the rally around the residents was absolutely necessary and I think needed. The fallout there is amazing. Now, federal judge blocked Trump administration from sending federalized National Guard to Portland, but not Chicago. But I think Governor Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson and the electeds there are standing up strongly and mightily. The other thing I took notice of is Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, has not sworn in the new Democrat Congresswoman Grijalva. Grijalva succeeded her father, and she won a special election. Now, when Republicans won special elections, they immediately swore them in. So the speculation is, and I don't think it's just speculation, that they don't want to swear in because she would be on the committee that would vote on releasing all of the Epstein files. And that just one more vote on that committee, the files come out. So it gives you even more concern, curiosity, what would be the right word, as to why Trump is so afraid of the Epstein files. So we got a lot to talk about. All this over the weekend. They're in the Middle East right now, trying to negotiate an immediate settlement of some kind with Palestine, Gaza and Israel, to release all of the hostages that the Hamas is holding. They are working out particulars. Very interesting how they want to deal with how and who governs Gaza. And I think that's going to be a sticky point. And other points. I would hope that the ceasefire starts, but I would also hope that there be a two-state solution. You must give Palestine their own self-government. And at the same time, you see what's going on in Ukraine. Putin has not stopped the drones and the bombings since he met with Trump in Alaska. He played Trump like a flute. And it's real telling to the world. That's why Trump run around attacking everybody he can. Also, I think it is important. I had on the show last night, I was very concerned about the misleading health care stuff that the Trump administration is doing through its HH Secretary, Robert Kennedy Jr., about vaccines, don't use vaccines, and other things that disproportionately impacts our community. So it's a lot to talk about on Hot Button Monday. And I want you to call in and let us go through these next 3 hours together, informing each other. And many of you have suggestions of what we ought to be doing, so instructing each other. But let us do that candidly. And again, let me thank all of you that wish me a happy birthday Friday and over the weekend. It will culminate tonight at the Triumph Awards at Lincoln Center in New York. All the tickets are gone. But I thank people. Some of our chapters have come from around the country to be at Lincoln Center with us tonight, and it'll be honoring Babyface and Stephanie Mills and Vincent Bohannon as the gospel singer, and Aaron Melba, the host of The Beat, and Chesley Maddox Dorsey. So it's going to be a great night, and they're going to do my closing happy birthday for this year. And you that are in town listening, we're going to start promptly at 7 o'clock. This is not a revival meeting. It's going to be prompt at 7 and out of there at a couple hours later, because the reason our stuff works is because we respect people's time. But let's talk about all of this. I think I love Baptiva. Is it Baptiva? Says furloughed peeps should contact mortgage creditors, ask for repayment, 60, 90 days suspension, and are mandated to have this for veterans. Very important information. I'm glad they sent that in. All right, let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Right after this. I didn't think when I was at any age, some of the things I'd be doing, I would tell you was crazy. I would just did what I felt was right, and a lot of things just evolved. But I intend to use the access I have to try to advance the things I always fought for. And I'm very happy to see the mixture. Sean Bell's parents here, the governor's coming, the mayor's coming, and the parents of Eric Gardner. So this is my life. I've been able to reach from the streets to the suites, and I intend to do it a long time.
Dear Reverend Sharpton, we are pleased to join in wishing you a happy guided by faith and an unwavering belief in the America that could and should be. You have dedicated yourself to the righteous cause of perfecting our union.
Happy birthday.
The death of my son stunned what I need to do and what the purpose that God has for me. We are blessed to have Reverend Sharpton to work with us, to support us, and just to guide us through all the things that we have gone through.
60 years old. Seems like you're just getting started. Seems like you're just warming up. You're reaching more and more people around this nation, hearing a voice, positive vision, speaking truth to power. You're helping us move forward. And we all owe you not only a warm and loving happy birthday, but a profound thanks. God bless you.
Thank you to the mayor. First of all, let me say I'm very, very happy and honored with all that has been said tonight. The governor and the mayor and Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, and Spike and all of my friends. My board chairman, Reverend Richardson, would you come forward and all of our board members. But I want to pay special tribute to the chairman of tonight's event. If it wasn't for him, Melvin Morris, this wouldn't happen. Where's the Melvin? He went out of his way. I want to thank Phil Griffin, president of SNBC, that exposed us to the nation. And his words tonight, I will never forget. And the most important to me to hear Mrs. Diallo, Mrs. Bell, Trayvon Martin's mother, Miss Fulton, Miss Gardner, all of them. I wanted them here because anywhere I go, I want people to know I go because I'm fighting for them. And I don't do one thing one side of town, some on the other side of town. I'm going to the Four Seasons, we all go. And tomorrow night, we all going to church. Yolanda Adams and Marvin Sapp is doing our gospel festival uptown. And it is the unnamed people that march, that never be on TV. This is their celebration. Because they are the reason that I do what I do. And I'm going to do it as long as I can. I want to thank all of our people at National Network, Michael Hardy, our executive director, Janae Ingram. I want to thank them. I push them hard, but I want to make them better. James Brown pushed me hard, so I don't have no mercy on them. I want to thank all of our friends and labor and everywhere. I'll get in trouble calling names, I'm going to forget somebody. But I want Lavelle and them to know tonight was special. Those that I forget, Reverend Richardson and I will recognize tomorrow night at the Gospel Festival. But I want these families to know. I want our chapter leaders to know. Reverend Charles Williams here from Detroit, Reverend Tues from LA and all. That it doesn't matter when you're in the suites. If you don't forget, you're there for those in the streets. And we are here for a reason. And this is a beautiful night. But we still will be there anyway you don't want to deal with education. And our mission should never be in any way forgotten. I want to thank this mayor for helping to begin the transformation of the city. I want to thank all of the electeds that have come tonight, and I want to thank all of you that
Michael Holly. If it wasn't for Michael, and we started, it was just a few of us. Now we're all over the country, and I will never, ever forget those that breathed in us. The Teresa Freeman, the Michael Hardys, the Nora Fulani, Rachel Norman, people that worked. I don't care what you say. I'm going to stand for what is right and stand with those that stood to me around. People that made this movement. You can take whatever shots you want, but we came together and we go in together because we're fighting for a better day. I want to thank my daughters, Dominique and Ashley, who are the pride of my life. I never asked them to be an activist, and both of them are excellent activists and fine ladies. And I love them and I thank them, and I'm glad they have visited me in jail in March. They visited me in the hospital when I was there. Tonight they with their daddy at the Four Seasons for my birthday. I want to thank Aisha, my companion. She's been with me 5 years, and she don't know from one day to the next what's happening. But she hangs in there, and I appreciate that. And I want to appreciate Kathy, what she did for my daughters and for me. I thank all of those that have meant something. But my biggest gift is the Queen of
You're live, sir.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host. Keeping it real. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Twitter.com, The Rev Al, or go to our message page at live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. I see the mayor checking in, and I thank him. Yes, I got your birthday gift. It was great. I definitely am looking for the right place to put it up, but I did get it, and certainly to the activist extraordinaire, Evangelist Ramsey, says good afternoon. See you at the Triumph Awards. Thanks for all you do. Hope to be there to celebrate y'all. And we couldn't have a real gathering without you, Evangelist Ramsey. Let me say by way of announcements that don't forget, every Saturday and Sunday, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5. And you know it's effective if the president is attacking it, trying to get us off the air and threatening NBC and all. Last night when I got off the air, about an hour later, I started getting text messages. You see his text. So that means you're getting to him. You know, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, told me that I would go down south. There was a family habit we had of going south to Alabama to see my maternal grandmother, and then drive over to Florida to see my paternal grandparents. And my father would drive this before he left. And I remember that my grandmother, Mattie Richards was her name, said to me, "You don't know nothing about farming." I said, "No, ma'am. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. I wasn't no but 7, 8 years old." She said, "You see those pen over there, those animals in the pen?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Those are hogs." I said, "Okay." She said, "Now, if you took one of them stones by your foot and threw that in them pile of hogs, the one that hollers is the one you hit." And I never got that. So Trump wouldn't be hollering if we weren't effective in terms of raising issues he may not want raised. So support Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. every Saturday and every Sunday on MSNBC. And you that are in the New York area, we're going to have a big night tonight at the Triumph Awards at Lincoln Center. But the work is every Saturday at the Saturday Action Rally, where we inspire each other and deal with assignments and committees breakdown. It's an organization. This ain't riding a wave. We are the water the waves rise out of. Continual movement. So be at the Saturday Action Rally. You that are in the tri-state area have no excuse. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. House of Justice of National Action Network, 145th Street in Lenox. And you that are not in the New York area can watch it live on Impact Television, or you can watch it on live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. All right, let's start going to the phones. Let's start in Chicago, where I dealt a lot of the time last night with the mayor of Chicago and the attorney general of state of Illinois with this invasion of Chicago. Let me go to my dear friend to open us up for the week, the beloved Miss Eunice. Miss Eunice, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Rev. I'm sure you had a great birthday party.
I did have a great time.
Sure. And I want to thank you for the great shows you continue to bring on the best guests.
Thank you.
And you know, Reverend, it is a shame what's going on. The speaker sends the elected officials home, or they go to Sea Island, Georgia for a so-called meeting. They won't take care of the business at hand. Now, like the Epstein vote or seat an elected official, and they should not be able to do these things. And why is that allowed? You and I couldn't get away with that. You can see they're clearly hiding, covering up something, and they're sending military forces to cities when told they don't need to be there by the governor, the mayor, and other officials, and they are shirking their duties. We, the people, are not regarded. Why is Kushner involved if he's not a cabinet member? And thank you for taking my call, and I'll talk to you again on Friday.
All right, and thank you for your call. Let's go to Jeff in New York. Jeff.
Hey, Rev. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Rev, I wanted to know, what are the Democrats' response going to be? Because, with all of this action going on in Chicago, the shutdown, the speaker sending, the congresspeople home, like, it seems like they need to be a little more demonstrative with the response. And it's
well,
like
I think
Trump
that
on TV blame.
I think that let's start with the shutdown. I think that their response has been that they're not coming in and voting and letting them go through the budget. So I think that Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, and Chuck Schumer, the minority leader of the Senate, has held steadfast. That's about as aggressive as you could get, because last time they caved. They have not caved this time. In terms of them going into Chicago and other places, the governor of Illinois and the mayor is in court trying to stop them, like the mayor of Portland was trying to do. So again, I think that you're right. Okay. We need to see more drama. I'd like to see people hit the streets more from our community. There are people out there in the streets in Chicago, but I'm not seeing a lot of us because if they'll do it to one, they'll do it to others. What they've done in that building on the south side of Chicago should be enough to outrage everybody. They put zip-ups in kids in zip-ups, 2 years old, 3 years old. It's outrageous, and there needs to be a real outrage expressed on what they're doing. But let's keep monitoring. You are right, Jeff, to watch them and keep the pressure on the Democrats. Don't cave. There's no negotiation on this, particularly when they're going to cut out money from Medicare. They got to stand up on this. Yeah. Thank you for your call. Let me go to Disco Brian in Philadelphia, WURD. Disco Brian, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Rev, oh my Lord, we tried so hard. We wanted so bad to be with you tonight at the Triumph Awards, but tickets went fast, and I wasn't quick enough on the fly on our email, so we're going to miss it. But I'm going to come back to the House of Justice, and maybe Rev. I don't even know. Things are so crazy right now. Are you doing something in Atlanta? That's where my family is.
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta.
Are you doing something?
I'm in Atlanta the end of the month with, no, not the end. I think it's the 19th. I'll be announcing it. Me and Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow and I are doing a fireside chat with Andrew Young, this documentary that Rachel has put together on former Mayor Andrew Young. So I will be announcing it, no doubt about it. Thank you for your call.
Amazing.
And sorry I'm going to miss you tonight, but thank you for your call. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Hot Button Monday. Be right back.
This way it all starts.
How are you?
Highly favored. Highly favored.
Thank you.
All right. Love you.
Over your house.
All right, man.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, NASDAQ Network. He just came here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
Teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we mold them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be is a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game, because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well,
You
let's say,
hopeless,
well,
they
to
were
them,
coming out.
well, to
It's
them,
never
10,
hopeless.
11, 12-year-old kids,
It's never
Jim.
hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Don't say hopeless. Then we're copping out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try it. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
Okay, I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say it.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm going to tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots die for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as it land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get a 5-star, get an hour, or just have a dream,
You're live, sir,
come
you're live.
back 3 times.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. And I'm looking at our live stream board. Now, Regina Black Middleton is texting me saying that their member been disorganized in terms of trying to get to the Triumph Awards tonight, and Evangelist Ramsey. Now, I know these two. Again, I do not know if y'all went by the timeline. The times we give, I don't care how long you've been a member, you got to go in there because we only have we do not build Lincoln Center. We have a certain amount of seats. But if you call right now, 1-877-626-4651, and ask for Reverend Ron McHenry, I will call and make sure Evangelist Ramsey and the Regina Black Middleton can get in tonight if they had to sit somewhere. Just call him McHenry, just you two. But again, I want to know that y'all came during the time designated. We cannot have people not work with us organizers and say we weren't organized. They gave times for tickets, and that's the only way we can do it. But because I know the two of you, I'm gonna see if we can try to get this done. All right, let's go right back to the phones, and let me go to Demetrius in Detroit. Demetrius, you're keeping it real. I'm sorry, Demetrius is in Cleveland. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, thank you, Reverend Sharpton. Always nice talking to you as usual. And I hope you did enjoy your birthday.
I did.
I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that you're here for been in the struggle for a number of years since you was a youth, and you continue on. So you're a dedicated person. That's a good thing. You know, you're well-rounded as well. I want to talk. First of all, I give my sympathy to Miss Woodall family. Her name was Jane Woodall. She was a violinist. She did study with different animals around the world, especially in Africa. But I remember reading a pamphlet when she had had a discussion with James Baldwin. It was like maybe 20 pages long. It was interesting. It was talking about, you know, how the structure of society is in this country and around the world. And she was comparing her scientific studies with James Baldwin was explaining how the social order is just not always justly, and sometimes the scientific techniques used, you know, to keep people in poverty and so forth. So it's a really interesting discussion they had. But also, I'd like to speak concerning the Palestinian state they want to set up in the Middle East. I believe it's going to be kind of difficult if they want a Palestinian state, but they want to set up a state that Palestinians can't defend themselves. To me, that leave them vulnerable. Because they're the same thing when Muammar Gaddafi, you know, he gave up his weapons in Libya, that left him vulnerable, you know, to be taken out of office. Even though he thought it would alleviate some of the pressure the world was putting on him, because they asked him, especially get rid of his nuclear weapons, then everything would be okay. They wouldn't bomb his country no more. So I believe just ask the Palestinians to have a state without any type of defense, and without any other countries going to protect them. It's kind of leaving them vulnerable, you know, to be invaded and going through the same thing. That's what happened in Gaza now. If Israel have the notion to do that, I think that's so much to ask for. And also, I'd like to say, when it comes to, you know, standing up here in America, you know, for our civil rights and our human rights, we got to keep on fighting as usual, because we struggle too much. You know, our ancestors here, you know, fought revolutionary wars. We fought, we tilled the land of this country without any wages. Even people from England fought a revolutionary war. They fought for freedom. So we got to make sure they didn't die in vain. Don't give up our rights, freedom of speech, right to vote, right for a proper education. Because even now, some of the schools is cutting back programs because the attendance is low. I mean, this goes back to the DI programs being rescinded by Supreme Court, pushed by this administration. You know, because here in Cleveland, Cleveland State University, they cut out their Black Studies program, if you can get a bachelor, you know, for a lower, like, because of the funds are being cut, you know, because the attendance is low. And I believe all this goes back because don't want people to know their history, keep certain people, especially minority groups, from attending college so they can move up socially. So it's very important that we keep the pressure on in the Congress, keep the pressure on in the school boards, in the local school boards, and make sure that children are being educated properly so they can find out the truth and they have a well-rounded education. You know, so that's basically what I wanted to say, and that we basically respect each other as human beings, and don't become, we move in different positions, don't become as ruthless as those who we take the place of in Congress in this business. We got to respect each other as a people, and don't mistreat each other as a people. Don't give them reason to say we shouldn't have certain positions. We can't be envious. We can't be jealous. We have to be fair with each other, and don't be afraid to challenge. But we don't want to be back on a lower level and not afraid to step off being oppressed because of the powers to be. Sometimes to make sacrifices, we have to stand up, strong men and women, and don't be self-serving, and don't hurt each other. And sometimes your own people hurt you. You got to be strong. They did the same thing to Jesus. They criticized him. They criticized Moses. He had to leave because his own people were threatening his life. They stoned Stephen because he told the truth. Sometimes you tell the truth, your own people don't like you, and the forces to be don't like you. You got to do what you have to do to tell the truth. Sometimes it's a price to pay. Thank you very much, Reverend Sharpton.
All right, thank you for your call. And let me say again to Evangelist Ramsey and to Regina Black Middleton and Jeffrey Brow to contact Reverend McHenry because I know y'all. I'm telling them to make sure y'all get in tonight. Now, everybody else don't call me. If you didn't follow what you're supposed to follow, I cannot make seats that are not there. But Jeffrey Baugh, Baugh, he and his wife, and Evangelist Ramsey and Regina, contact Reverend McHenry. He's at the House of Justice now, and he's working this out. I just spoke with him. All right, let's go to Mr. Wells in Metaverse. Metaverse, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton.
Good afternoon.
Hey, look, there's been a lot of conversation, and I'm out there. And what concerns me is this thing, and if individuals would like to do it, how they go about their business, at this point in the school year, we're a term in, so everybody can understand this. There's a culture. After 9 weeks into the school year, we start to do multi-tiered support services where we do intervention for students behaviorally, academically, to see where they are, to get them to where they should be by the end of the school year. And this is distinct from special ed, but your high student, your average student, your low student, we're checking in now. People say, oh, Wells, you're a MAGA, blah, 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 NAACP in Cincinnati, even on your show. Haven't heard one teacher yet say, hey, y'all, get prepared, be involved in multi-tiered support services because we're about to do an intervention look across the country to give students what they need. Now, I'm saying it now because I work in that profession. People say, well, what else can we work on together, Wells? I say, let's work on it. I haven't heard it. I've heard folks bashing me, saying I'm a bootlicker, I'm a coon, blah, 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 blah. Hadn't heard one teacher yet, black, male, white, on that, even on social media, have not said, look, it's multi-tiered support intervention time. Check in with the board at your school and be clear about what we get as far as services on intervention if your child is lagging as a student, elementary, secondary. Haven't heard it. Now, the guy that sports against the White House is bringing the conversation. And I just sat back and wanted to listen to see if anybody was. I heard Greg Landsman today. Congressional District 1 was on WDBZ. He went for a whole hour. He's a former educator. Said nothing about the things you can do away from legislation on social interaction. I'm warning people. I'm going to say, look, be clear to work with the multi-tiered services plan that's going to come out for your children in elementary and secondary, because it's going to have to happen. This has to be done. The reason why I'm saying this, Reverend Sharpton, is you support school choice, correct?
I support public schools.
Okay. Well, there's money on the table in Cincinnati, like other states. Just like I got an issue with the black church and withholding, I'm against any kind of new spending levies or renewals because that culture is dysfunctional.
Are you against what now? Any new what?
Any kind of new money, renewed money, because we don't hold education accountable.
Renewed money to who?
Anything going to school districts that's renewed or new, I'm opposed to it.
Then how do you propose to educate our children? You don't. There's no accountability in charter schools. It's up to who has the charter.
There is accountability.
How?
You may not know it.
No, I know it. Wait a minute. Whoa. I don't question what you know. Don't question what I know. I didn't say I think. I said there is no accountability in charter schools other than who is in charge of the charter. If I have a charter school, I decide, because it is privately chartered, what the curriculum is and what the standard is. So there is no uniform.
That's incorrect.
Well, how is that incorrect?
Because you're speaking about New York.
No, I'm not talking about New York. I've done the education program all over the country when Obama was in.
Too.
Well, then you are incorrect. Thank you for your call. That is not true. That's why they call it charter schools. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. You could try, but you don't work. It don't work here. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Report about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started at Harvard with a black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP would put forward together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back to this.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the National Director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974. Yeah.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest. The young
That's going to perform.
1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. You know, every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. and I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You've got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your areas. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day.
important for the world to keep their eye on Israel's new prime minister, because there was a lot of protests going on against him because he was taking away a lot of the democratic rights in Israel.
Be a part of the conversation. Have your say.
Rev got Antoine C. right for you.
See Israel totally destroyed. Israel is controlling everything about the Palestinians. Their resources, their food, their water, their life. Well, you're giving them no choice.
Just keep it real.
This thing with Israel is so dangerous, it's almost like World War III if we're not careful.
Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York.
There's no side that can justify, to me, killing innocent people.
Absolutely nothing. Keeping it real. It's Hot Button Monday with the world's civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You lost, sir.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Twitter.com, The Rev Al, or you can go to our page, our live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net to our message page. We are joined as we are every Monday to kick off the week, to put us in focus, by the Democratic strategist and founding CEO of Blueprint Strategy, LLC, Antoine C. How you doing, Antoine? I don't.
Goes out to the federal workers who have not been paid as a result of this Republican government healthcare shutdown.
Now, give us your assessment on what's going on here, because I saw that Speaker Johnson did a long interview this morning that was played way too early, and on Morning Joe, trying to blame the Democrats and saying that let's come to the table and work this out. But coming to the table would only work it out if they agreed to them adjusting some of the health care benefits. Am I correct? I mean, what is the issue that is problematic for the Democrats?
Well, Rev, let's start with Republicans who are in charge of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. In the House have only worked 14 days, a total of 14 days since July. They refused to swear in Gravahalda because that would mean the release of the Epstein files, and they continue to block the Epstein files. So let's stop there. But this Republican healthcare shutdown really is about healthcare. It's fundamentally about healthcare. Democrats have been clear: cancel the cuts, save healthcare, and make America more affordable because America's too expensive. Now here we are in day 5 or 6 of a government shutdown, and Republicans refuse to even sit down with Democrats to even have a conversation. What Democrats are saying is the largest cut to Medicaid in American history will go into effect after the 26 midterms, which at the end of this year will result in a $500 billion cut to Medicare. We're saying let's deal with that. We're also saying the Affordable Care Act subsidies that are set to expire at the end of the year, where notices will start to go out now because the marketplace will open up on November 1st. Let's extend those, because that means a family making $88,000 a year combined income, paying about $350 to $450 a month depending on their plan, will see those rates skyrocket to about $1,500 to $1,800 a month. And that's just one example. But instead, Republicans are saying that this is about giving illegal aliens health care. That's a lie, because in order to get the Affordable Care Act subsidies, Rev, you have to have a Social Security number. And then they're saying this is about giving illegal aliens health care, where in 1986, I think it was Ronald Reagan who declared that anyone who comes into a hospital has to be seen. And that's what the Christian experience is about, Matthew 25 and 40. And as I made the point on your program Saturday, thank you for having me on, Rev, 76% of those who receive ACA subsidies are in states that Trump won. 18.2 million Americans are in red states receive those subsidies. Only 5.2 are in Democratic blue states. And so they own this healthcare shutdown, and they're responsible for these skyrocketing premiums that are likely to take place.
If the shutdown continues, and obviously it is a burden on the federal workers, tell us the ramifications that we will be able to see, not only on federal workers, but outline that, but also on goods and services that they provide to the general public.
Well, keep in mind, Reverend Al, everything is expensive in America because of Donald Trump's tariffs. Just before we came on this program, he announced another set of tariffs on low to medium weight truckers, which is going to drive the cost up. Earlier today, Nike says their products are up about 17%, and we see this industry as the industry. So what happens in the government shutdowns, our servicemen and women, those who are in uniform, are not paid, as well as TSA workers and a number of government employees. Now, by federal law, they will eventually get their back pay, but they are essentially working for free at this point. Just before we came on this program about 10 minutes ago, the head of WIC declared that in week 2, we could see WIC benefits come to a grinding halt because they could not afford to pay them out. So that's going to impact children and families, particularly poor and low-income, moderate families, black, white, brown, and everything in between. And not to mention the people that we don't think about during the government shutdown is government contractors who do not get paid, they do not get health insurance benefits and so forth when the government is shut down. So there are a lot of things and a lot of people who are on the line, and their livelihood is on the line as a result of Republicans who control the House, the Senate, and the presidency not wanting to do anything about health care security in this country. And back that up, Rev, with the fact that a lot of grants and programs that are funded by way of the federal government have been put on hold. So you're going to see services for children with special needs, schools, colleges, universities, research hospitals and institutions. All those things are on hold while the government is shut down.
Tell us of your views on troops moving into Chicago. They were blocked, at least temporarily, in Portland, though they are certainly saying they're going to go in and they think they can win that. The Chicago standoff, it seems to be that they're going in. I had the mayor, Brandon Johnson, and I had Kwame Raoul, the state attorney general, on the show last night, and they're trying to fight, but it seems like they're already in or beginning to go in.
Well, they're in. As you mentioned, you had them on the program, and I think it was this morning that the state of Illinois sued the Trump administration for the insurgent of the troops. The 400 troops have been deployed. I think it's very dangerous, Reverend Al, because it sets a precedent. And keep in mind, this is what happens when Donald Trump knows he's in trouble with the American people. He pivots back to things that are popular among his base, red meat issues, crime, immigration, racism, and criminal justice. And so we see this continuously happen. We saw this in the first iteration of his presidency. Now we're seeing it even more unapologetically. And he's using this into cities that either have African-American mayors or predominantly black populations. Not only is he sending the troops, in Chicago's case, 400 troops and so forth, to deal with crime. And keep in mind, he did not work with the mayor, or even ask the mayor what his needs are, how can they work together, or even extend the right hand of fellowship by way of funding to deal with from a long-term perspective, but he wants to do a public relations effort. On top of that, Rev, he's freezing funds going to some of these cities like New York and Chicago for big projects that's going to not only put people to work, but also going to save lives and make those cities even more whole as they rightfully deserve. And so Chicago is suing as a result of that. And so he's doing a double whammy, if you will, in many of these places like New York and Chicago.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Percy, the labor activist par excellence in Detroit. Percy.
Well, Mal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can hear me. Bless your heart, man, for what you do. Once again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Your birthday, man.
Thank you.
You know, it's, you know, people don't really realize what you're doing today and how you have your conventions on how you doing this, and you open it up for the general public to participate, and it doesn't cost them nothing but to come show up.
Yep, that's what we do.
And that's what And that's what I'm telling you, bless your heart for, man.
Oh, thank you.
know?
Thank you.
And I'm definitely I'm putting on my bucket list to get there one year, but I definitely want to come to the House of Justice too, man, on Saturday morning, man.
You gotta come.
I got to be there, man, and I want to be there. So when you make that call of who to come to the front, you can holler out my name while I put something in. You know what I'm talking about.
You be watching, all right. I can't wait for you to be there in person.
I'm gonna make it happen. But look, man, so today is our big day here in Michigan, man, for the home care workers, right, man.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Today is the final day. So today is the final day where we are putting ballots in the drop box for the home care workers in our state to get their union back. When our state went right to work back in 2012, they took the union away from the home care workers, which they didn't have a contract up to this point. This point, we're up October the 6th is the deadline to drop the ballots in the drop box. So the home care workers, the 37,000 home care workers in our state are voting to support SEIU being the one that will organize them for their future contracts. And from doing the phone banking and stuff and calling them and reaching out to them, winning this vote is going to be pretty much in our favor. It's looking real good to win this. And I just want to encourage other listeners of how, if you're civically being engaged and participating, you can turn this stuff around and push back on this stuff that these Republicans are doing, and I want to make this other comment too about, here it is, Republicans had a majority in all three powers of government in our federal government, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm one to say that if they don't want 60 votes to be required for the filibuster to
wait a minute, hold 1 minute. I'll come right back to you. Keeping it real. Sharpton, be right back. Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You've got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I know in your area. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day.
Up there, can't afford to live it. And so when I was growing up, I was political without being political, in the sense that I was very angry about things.
Right.
Because you just felt like things were being done to you and no one was speaking to you, your family, your neighbors about how to actually involve you in shaping the place that you lived. And I got involved in quite a few protests and organizing. And then I had a lot of support, and people at the time said, we've got primaries for election for the council. And I was like, what's a councillor? And then I put myself forward, and I had zero expectation and won. And I served 3 times as a councillor.
Wow.
Yeah, so
well, we
must host you in Hackney when you next come.
I love that. Simon's trying to get me locked down some dates now.
Have you ever met the mayor of London?
Yeah, I met. He did a television show
that I was sitting in for a guy because he wasn't my show, and we met and talked. He said that he knew a lot of what we were doing over here.
Yeah.
He says he knows me.
I mean, you've inspired so many of us around, like that's the message I wanted to bring to you, which is, I know the work you do is like predominantly around sort of the US and to give, marginalized voices, a sense of power and a sense of a voice. But also, like all of us in the UK and in London, we look to you to get our inspiration. And, certainly for the mayor, we'd love to host you.
I will do that. I'd love to.
I mean, I think one of the things that, it'd be good to, I guess I would want this inspiration from you is you've been through, you've seen it all, and you've been through much more worse than what we've seen in the UK. And as you're saying, I think all of the things that we thought we were advancing on, whether it's around gender equality, racial justice, climate action, I think in the last few years, all of that is now going backwards, right? And for me, it's like one of the things that I've learned now thinking through this is, even when you're winning, you never take your foot off the pedal or the gas. And it's like, as you were saying, it's like, I'll be very keen to get your thoughts on, what is the message we can take back to...
I think that if we study history, it's always one step forward and they're going to push back. I think that part of the naivety that a lot of activists, elected or unelected, is they think that if we do this one piece of legislation or get this one thing through, that we won. No, you had a temporary victory, but there's going to always be forces against you. So I think you have to set in your mind very young that this is going to be a lifetime struggle, and it's never going to be over. But history should record I was on the right side, and I did everything. I did my side, because history is ongoing. The example I use here a lot to people in my organization, to the young people, and is that for 246 years we were slaves, African American. Then we got the Emancipation Proclamation. Walk off the plantation. 246 years unpaid, against the law to read and write. Don't know where your family is because we're sold to different states. Somehow they put it together and they started building their churches and their businesses and all. And by Lincoln starting the Reconstruction, 12 years Reconstruction, put 22 people in the Congress. But Lincoln gets killed. His vice president takes over, who was a racist. And they reversed all that. We went through 100 years of lynchings by law. Couldn't vote by law, taking back everything we did. Then King comes along, advance again, then backlash again with rape. So it's always this going forward and backwards. History is defined by those that will fight when the wind is in their face, not to their back. Anybody's good when the wind is to your back. Your leadership is tested when the wind is facing you in the face. Can you keep running in it? And that's what separates the Gandhis and the Mandelas and the King from history, and those that had their moment in the sun, but we never hear from again because they couldn't take with the backlash. And like right now, a few years ago, we had a lot of young activists, George Floyd, all of that. And they faded because when the attacks came back, Trump got in, I'm going to live my life. I thought this was your life. And I think that you've got to make the commitment very early that I'm in this for the long run, because this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And the reward is going to be history will say you were right. And but you're going to have to go through seasons. It's that, maybe God wanted it that way. It doesn't matter what religion we practice, that there's seasons. It's summer, spring, fall, winter. And to get to the summer, you got to go through winter. And a lot of us don't want to go through the winter.
Yeah, I worry.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the National Director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974. Yeah.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest, a young
that's
lady.
going to perform with you.
Yeah, she's going to.
How are you?
Highly favored. Highly favored.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Love you. Over your house. All right, family.
You ready, sir?
Yeah.
You live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, keeping it real, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. Antoine Seawright is our co-host. Let's go back to Percy in Detroit. Percy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yeah. So, like I said, Reverend Seawright too, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't think I am. With the Senate being in the numbers that they have, I'm just saying the number of them that are able to vote, which is 53 of them. If they wanted to get rid of the filibuster with the, don't they have the ability to change that 60 vote? And isn't that what they did with the bill that they passed on the 4th of July with the great, beautiful bill that they claim is a beautiful bill, which is definitely a problem?
Well, as I reference on Politics Nation, Reverend Ad, the big nasty bill is what I call it. It was passed because they were able to conveniently rearrange the pieces of furniture and change the rules. And they can conveniently do that when they want to because they have the majority, but they're not interested in doing that because they want this to drag out and they want this fight to drag out because, keep in mind, part of Project 2025 is reshaping the federal government. They're using this as an opportunity to reshape the federal government. And so that's why President Trump in particular wants this government shutdown to drag out as long as possible.
Well, and then I want to add on to it too. So the other connection to that, and I always follow the money. So they get rid of these government positions that the taxpayer pay for government jobs, and they can bring in they private folks to run these agencies. That's what they're looking for. They're looking to get into these agencies that are ran from the government so they can put their private folks in there that they'll be getting a piece of the pie from. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just feeling, I don't have no receipts on that, but this is what I'm feeling, that this is what they want to push so they can get rid of the government run agencies so they can put in their private buddies agencies in, partners in, to get the funding from our tax dollars to pay for the private owners that they want to put in place.
Absolutely, and I think that one of the things that we've got to do is resist to protect the health care of those that would lose it, but also these federal employees, because there is a real synthesis between the Doge attempt to lay off all these or terminate all these federal employees, and what mischief they can do with this shutdown. So I think that what you just said is extremely important, and we've got to see it in the bigger context, Antoine.
And I want to say one more thing. So I got a niece that got affected from the shutdown. She's out of work. You know, she's in one of the tax-paying agencies that watches our tax funding. And she's out right now. You know, and that's the other thing. A lot of these jobs that are that we're losing are a lot of our black family members that are now not getting funded. They're not getting funds, and that's on purpose of what they want to do. And they're taking away our protection agencies when it comes to our food services, our health department, and all. They taking away all these agencies to protect us, which is what the government is supposed to do. But once again, they want to put in their private folks in there so they can get the profit.
Antoine.
Well, I think that's right. Look, I think it's to those who can afford a government shutdown. It's always to their advantage. And what we've seen from this administration for the past 9 months is that there's always been the strategic effort to reward the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. In a government shutdown, the only people who thrive in a government shutdown are those who have resources or those who have the ability to stay afloat. The poor get poor, the richer get richer, and the middle class move down a social class status. And I think the longer this plays out, the more it plays out and how Donald Trump wants it. But I want to go back to Trump's Project 2025, because just last week he tweeted the fact that he was meeting with one of the co-authors or the lead person on Project 2025 about how to reshape the federal government and the federal landscape. And again, this Trump's government shutdown gives him the opportunity to. Keep in mind, under President Biden, we did not have any government shutdowns, and Joe Biden had the slimmest majorities in our nation's history, because every chance he had, he sat down with Republican leaders ahead of a government shutdown and were willing to negotiate and compromise to make certain that America kept its pace and kept running. That's the difference between serious leadership and unserious leadership.
Let's go back
and keeping us protected and alive.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you for your call, Percy. Let me go to Still Bill in Cincinnati, Ohio. Still Bill, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, this is the day the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Good afternoon, Reverend.
Good afternoon.
It was a pleasure to salute you on your birthday last Friday.
Thank you.
I do agree with your friend Eunice from Chicago saying that we should not bow down to the Republicans. Absolutely not. Not even for a second. But, Reverend, I wanted to serenade you with a special song for your birthday. If I can do it right now, that'd be great, and get it out of the way.
All right, go
ahead. Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real, 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 keeping it real. Thank you for the opportunity. Hello, Dominique.
All right, thank you for the song. I mean, I'll try to remember the lyrics on that next time, but thank you for the call. Let's
take care, Reverend.
All right, take care of yourself. Let me go to Rod in Detroit. Rod, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and C-Rack.
Hey, Reverend. Now that's super light, Rod, Detroit. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Hey, man. Next time, Rev. Next time, tell Steel Bill, put some bass in your voice, man. When you're saying that, bro. Just like you, keeping it real, man. You don't gotta do that high pitched stuff. Really, that to Reverend Al's daughter. Nah, put some bass in your voice, bruh. Nah, Rev. Now, I wanted to talk about Memphis and then the NFL. So I'm gonna bring you. So as far as Memphis, yep, it's happening, and the right thing's happening too as well. Now, we have to be on watch for any rogue, bad soldiers doing the wrong thing, but that would be people keeping Donald Trump in check, like Hillary Clinton, you, Bill Clinton. I want to go talk to him and say, look, if you're going to have these troops there, you better keep these troops in line and do the right thing and get to the bad people and don't mess with the good people. So that's the only thing that needs to be worried about. But the key thing is they're doing the right thing. And for these Memphis people to be worried about, Memphis, Chicago, Detroit, all of y'all, for y'all to be worried about, oh, they're there. Why are they there? We should be on alert. No, they're there for the bad people. But we do need to be making sure that they only dealing with the bad folks. Our neighborhoods are out of control. Not to say that brown neighborhoods are not out of control in certain ways, because they are, but African American neighborhoods need it. When it comes to crime, trash, throwing garbage all on the ground in certain neighborhoods, it's ridiculous. It has to stop, and it will be stopped. Whether it's us doing it, working along with some Republicans, so be it. Let's make it happen. So that's my comment about that. People, when these National Guards get there, work with them to do the, to get the bad people. You don't have to be saying, be afraid, and you're the good people. Now, if you're the bad people, then yeah, you be afraid, because they're there for you to get you up out of there and make you do the right thing.
What do you deal with the fact, Rod, that they went to Chicago, raided buildings, made people come out in their undergarments and their bathrobes, children 2-3 years old, put them in zip bags? What do you mean work with the bad? They're coming out in the middle of the night, raiding places. They're not cooperating with people in the community. That's nonsense. There is no way.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Don't try that with me now. I'll let you talk. You let me talk. I'll go to the next caller. Let's take the break. You exhale, because I'm going to finish. Or I'll go to the next call. Let's keep it real. Sharpton, C-Right. Be right back. All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana. They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo.
Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day as a cute kid to this moment, he never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world. But because Michael kept going, because he didn't accept limitations, because he refused to let people decide his boundaries, he opened up the whole world. In the music world, he put on one glove, pulled his pants up, and broke down the color curtain, where now our videos are shown and magazines put us on the cover. It was Michael Jackson that brought blacks and whites and Asians and Latinos together. It was Michael Jackson that made us sing "We Are the World" and feed the hungry long before Live Aid. Because Michael Jackson kept going, he created a comfort level where people that felt they were separate became interconnected with his music. And it was that comfort level that kids from Japan and Ghana and France and Iowa and Pennsylvania got comfortable enough with each other to later it wasn't strange to us to watch Oprah on television. It wasn't strange to watch Tiger Woods golf. Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of America. Michael did that. Michael made us love each other. Michael taught us to stand with each other. There are those that like to dig around mess, but millions around the world, we're going to uphold his message. It's not about mess, it's about his love message. As you climb up steep mountains, sometimes you scar your knee. Sometimes you break your skin, but don't focus on the scars. Focus on the journey. Michael beat him. Michael rose to the top. He outsang his cynics. He outdanced his doubters. He outperformed the pessimists. Every time he got knocked down, he got back up. Every time you counted him out, he came back in. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. I want to thank to Mrs. Jackson and Joe Jackson, his sisters and brothers. We thank you for giving us someone that taught us love, someone that taught us hope. We want to thank you because we know it was your dream too. And we know that your heart is broken. I know you have some comfort from the letter from the President of the United States and Nelson Mandela, but this was your child. This was your brother. This was your cousin. Nothing will fill your heart's loss. But I hope the love that people are showing will make you know he didn't live in vain. And I want his 3 children to know, wasn't nothing strange about your daddy. It was strange what your daddy had to deal with. But he dealt with it.
We're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, Antoine C. Wright. is our co-host. So as I was saying to Rod is on from Detroit, that when you have people breaking in and put people in zip bags and children and make people stand out, it's kind of, to me, nonsensical to say work with the good people to get the bad people when they are coming in there not acting like there is a difference between good people and bad people. That's number one. The community being treated like they're under siege regardless of who they are. Secondly, they are supposed to be looking for illegal immigrants, not looking for criminals. So I don't know where you get this good people, bad people from. The police supposed to be dealing with that. If they're legal citizens here, this is beyond the purview of the National Guard. All right, go ahead, Rob.
So, yeah, this is the super lightning rod from Detroit, Rev.
All right, let's go to the next caller. I don't need your advertise. You said that when you first come on. Come on now. This is a real show. Let's not play.
I am against certain groups and agencies doing the wrong thing. I am against that, of course. ICE needs to be checked. Now, as far as the National Guard, if they start doing that, they need to be checked. But overall, if they're still just doing, if the majority of them doing the right thing, then I'm all for it. But yeah, they need to be checked. ICE needs to be checked. And you guys, maybe you, Hillary, Barack, go to Trump and say, look, man, keep your ICE people in check. Get them out of there and bring in another group if they can't do the right thing. So I'm all for that. I'm not for anybody being abused. I don't care if you are illegal. It need to be done the right way. But Trump needs to know this, and Trump needs to be checked about this, and he can check his people about it. Like, yeah, we're gonna get this right. Now, NFL, Rev, I know you're trying to make some extra money. I know you want to make that bread like, what is that? Your peers, Oprah, I think Denzel. Here's a good tip for you, brother. African-American ownership. If you can get involved with African-American ownership, and this is my whole thing for the NFL. We don't have Kaepernick playing in the NFL, that has to stop. We don't have African-American ownership. We don't have enough African-American men giving back to the neighborhood. Why? I'm thinking like people saying, why are you always talking about the NFL? Bruh, billions and billions of dollars our people can control and own and help our neighborhoods out too as well. You know, a lot of these African-American guys get their money and forget about the neighborhoods. That has to be reprogrammed. Colin Kaepernick needs his tryout. We need African-American owned teams. They need to come back to the neighborhoods and give more. The NFL is a never-ending pool of money. So, Reverend Al,
let me respond. One is that me and Hillary and Barack don't have to go to Trump. Trump watches television just like I do. He probably watched my show last night while he tweeted what he did. And I don't think that Trump would meet if we wanted to meet about the bad guys. But anyway, on your NFL thing, there you and I have agreement. One of the things we tried, I think it was 2 years ago, is the NFL had a team up, and we tried to get Robert Smith, the black billionaire, in. The NFL ownership is decided by the present NFL owners. They have to vote to let you in. And they have never voted to let in a black. We got black billionaires like Robert Smith and others that are qualified financially and have the capital to do it. We need to put the pressure on them to do that. I agree with you on that, and I agree with you about Kaepernick. I think that it is unpardonable that he took that stand and he's left out there isolated. And some of the players now don't even discuss that about this young man who really stood up by taking a knee.
Just on the radio, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Stephen A. Smith. They should be ashamed. I like Stephen A. Smith. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to the subject of Colin Kaepernick, a lot of these black guys on the radio will not bring him up and say, give him a tryout. We have 9 African-American black GMs that need to be held accountable, and these black people that's on the radio aren't saying anything. It's insane. Give the man a tryout. And you know what? He took a knee for your black behind. He took a knee for you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
It's not what you do, Rev, but he did something. And also, what is Jay-Z doing? Go talk to Jay-Z and say, bruh, what are you doing over in the NFL, Jay-Z? You quiet like a church mouse. You ain't helping out Kaepernick. You ain't helping out to get black ownership. Why are you over there, Jay-Z? supposedly the Hova, supposed to be all this and all that, bro. You quiet like a church mouse. Go and tell them I said that, Rev.
Cried like a church mouse. Wow. That's a new one. I'm
No,
gonna
I
try
said
that.
quiet.
Quiet like a
quiet
church.
like a church
Oh,
mouse.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
when it comes to helping African Americans get
Yeah,
ownership
all right,
and
we together on that. We agreed on the last two things, but let me give you one tip because I grew up in the hood. Church mouses are quiet, but church rats make noise. Watch the difference between a mouse and a rat. But let's go back. Thank you for. Let's go back with Antoine. Antoine, I think part of what we are talking about here, and they're not really two different things. They're interrelated. Is that yes, we need to have ownership of teams, and we do have blacks that are in a financial position, but we also must at the same time deal with the average black, since we talk about the black community, that will be disproportionately impacted by these shutdowns. So if I'm sitting home right now listening to the radio, or if I'm in my car, wherever I'm at, it is nice to get a black billionaire, an NFL team, but my job is being laid off, and I'm either going to be furloughed or fired. That's an immediate problem, and we can't step over the masses talking about the classes. I love those that can do that, and I think you can do both at the same time. JD, the poet says David Stewart, Robert Smith, and other billionaires aren't allowed to buy teams outright. That's the problem. And that's an issue that we need to deal with as we also deal with the shutdown. It's not one or the other, it's both and. Antoine.
Rev, you have to add to the fact that black home ownership is down. Access to capital for black small businesses is down. The highest unemployment rate we've had in the black community since the Great Depression. You have to add on to the fact that the racial wealth gap has widened in a matter of 10 months. Poverty has increased. You have to add on to the fact that HBCUs have been stripped and robbed of their funding and their programs. You have to add on the fact that programs like SNAP benefits have been taken away thanks to the big, nasty bill. Community health centers in black communities are being stripped. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and opportunities have been shuttered and shut down in many places. And I can go on and on and on. And while we talk about NFL ownership, and I think that's important, but I think everyday working class Americans have a lot more to focus on. They can't even afford, Reverend Al, to get cable in order to watch the NFL Sundays. So relevant conversation has to be relevant for our people. And I think we've got to focus on the focus, control the controllables, and prioritize the priorities. And I wish we would put just as much attention on the NFL as a whole, Super Bowl, halftime show, and all those things, as we do getting those athletes to raise their voices by encouraging people who watch those programs to vote in the elections, because that helps all of us.
Let's go to Sly in Detroit. Sly.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al, and happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to come behind the last caller, because I'm going to ask this question again if he's still listening. Brother, where were you when your favorite mayor, who you always would talk about on local radio here in Detroit, where were you and your sentiment when your favorite mayor, Kilpatrick, had two police chiefs that the first one cut the police department off at the knees when he blindly signed two federal consent decrees forcing the police to do their job with one arm tied behind their back, the other one in a sling, and having an appendix taken out at the same time? Where were you, bro? And when he was replaced for unlawfully possessing a firearm, and I'll say a police chief that was unlawfully in possession of a firearm, when he was replaced, where was your sentiment when that police chief cut the heads off of the police department when she had the brilliant idea, as a matter of fact, 20 years ago next week, they closed down police precincts. and merged them together, creating all kind of chaos and calamity because there was more ground to cover. Response time went berserk, and crime began to escalate. Where were you, bro? How come you didn't organize? How come you didn't go down to the police headquarters, lock arms, and say, not on my watch? We actually need more police officers and more resources. Oh, now you want to call for the National Guard. I said it before and I'll say it again. Instead of wasting money on sending military troops into the black community, why not give those black tax-paying communities the resources for their police agencies to be more effective? Okay, some of the resources can go towards having mental health agents that can respond to police calls when a person is having a bad day and going through a meltdown. Okay, so where's your heart, bro? Are you just spitting in the wind, or are you doing like what James Brown said, talking loud and saying nothing? Because
hold on 1 minute. Let me take my break. I'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
This is where it all starts.
How are you?
Highly favored. Highly favored.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Love you.
Over your house.
All right.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Please receive one of the greatest voices for the urban community. One, amen. Not them yet. This is one of the greatest voices, not many of the greatest voices. We're going to adjust the program quickly at this time. This man has spoken out. He stood on the front line. He has been a man for the people, of the people. Please receive Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you, Bishop. To the Franklin family and to all of us gathered, Aretha Franklin was not only an unparalleled artist, she was a civil rights activist and freedom fighter. It is easy to celebrate the gifts that God gives. It is more difficult when someone uses those gifts in ways that enhances humanity. Aretha Franklin was given special gifts, but she used it in a special way. And she would not want us to celebrate her without talking about she stood for something. She never shamed us. She never disgraced us. She never made us make excuses for her. She represented the best in our community, and she fought for our community until the end. I first met Miss Franklin when I was a teenager. I'd become youth director of New York Operation Breadbasket, and she would come to the strategy meetings with Reverend Jackson. And I would hear the stories of how when Dr. Martin Luther King could make payroll, Harry Belafonte and Aretha Franklin went on an 11-city tour to raise money for Martin Luther King. A lot of artists hang up Dr. King's photo, but Aretha went and raised money and gave it and worked free. Her daddy marched with Dr. King, and she never stopped supporting. As the years went by and I developed National Action Network, and she would call my radio show and have me come to her affairs. She called me one day. She said, "Red Mal, I want to send you something." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "What's your home address?" And she sent it. About 3 days later, I got a check made out National Action Network signed by Aretha Franklin. I saw about a month later, I said, "You know, I was so blown away. I grew up looking up to you that I framed that check." She said, "Boy, don't you have a copy machine?" She said, "You don't know how I am with my bank accounts. You better cash that check." And but all of her life, she supported the causes. She was a feminist before feminism was popular. She was a civil rights activist when it wasn't popular. She gave us pride, and she gave us a regal bar to reach. And that's why we're all here. We don't all agree on everything, but we agree on Aretha. And she fought for everybody. I remember when we were used to picket, Charles Williams and all of us jumping on the record industry. She said, "Now y'all leave Clive Davis alone. He's one of the good ones." She loved Clive and said, "We got to remember what happened to the Irish and what happened to Jews and what happened to blacks." And that is why we remember her legacy, because she sang a song for all of us. She was the soundtrack of the civil rights movement. If you track where we are, you can follow where Aretha had us. That's why when I look at her and James Brown, whose daughter is here, and others who paid a price, that opened the door, but never forgot where they came from. She was rooted in the black church. She was bathed in the black church. And she took the black church downtown and made folks that didn't know what the Holy Ghost was shout in the middle of a concert. You never saw her perform without her doing gospel, because she never was one to forget where she came from. And that's why we give her this great homegoing. We thank her for what she did with Dr. King. We thank her for what she's done with Reverend Jackson. We thank her for what she's done with all of us. And that is why, you know, the other Sunday on my show, I misspelled respect. And a lot of y'all corrected me. Now I want y'all to help me correct President Trump to teach him what it means. And I say that because when word had went out that Miss Franklin passed, Trump said she used to work for me. No, she used to perform for you. She worked for us. Aretha never took orders from nobody but God. So, Retha, as you get your rest, my mother passed about 6 years ago. President Clinton, my mother and I had a deal. She said, I'll meet you on the other side. You live the way you're supposed to, and I'll see you in heaven. I said, well, Ma, they tell me there is no bodies in heaven, just spirits. How am I going to know you? I know her sons. How will I know her? She said, I'll tell you, you meet me at the exchange counter. I said, exchange counter? What kind of exchange counter? She said, well, right after you get through the Golden Gates, there's an exchange counter. That's where you hand in your cross to pick up your crown.
With Dr. Glenda Glover at Tennessee State University, and I have the Tennessee State University leaders who all want to thank you for being our civil rights leader.
The Attorney General of Black America, Ben Crump.
Commitment to justice.
And I'm probably going to need your help on this legal fight. You know, they shorted the historically black colleges and universities to the tune of about $13 billion, and Tennessee State was the one they shorted the most.
Absolutely. Well, let me know. I'm on the next plane as soon as you holler. You know, when Ben Crump called, I don't even question it. I just head to the airport and get the details on the way.
Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. Keeping it real. It's Hot Button Monday. And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You're live, sir.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Antoine Seawright is our co-host, as he is every Monday. And he kicks off our week with us, one of the most astute political strategists in the country. And Antoine, a lot going on. I was just in the break talking to one of the tailors that's coming for the my Triumph Awards birthday tonight. So I'm pulling up a picture of you in that brown suit, brown shoes, and brown tie you had Saturday night. And I'm going to get my own way of doing it, but I'm going to pay you back for that. Let's go to Ozzy in Cincinnati. Ozzy, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton and Antoine Seawright.
Yes, sir. Bishop, a couple of things. But first, I called on your birthday because I wanted to say, on the day that you were born, the angels got together and poured out something special from God into that delivery room. Because you're a 1%er, my brother, in my opinion.
Thank you.
I just want to say, yes, sir. Well, no, thank you, and thank God for you. But I would like to say this. We knew prior to Trump getting in office, Project 2025 was coming. I went to a seminar. There was very few people in there. So what did we do to prepare for it? We knew Trumpism was going to come. What did we do to prepare for it? Now, I want to say that what looks like is coming next is where we're going to be separated when it comes to education, job opportunities, health care. Now, what are we doing about it? When we have millions of elderly black people from the 40s and the 50s that knew what it took for black communities to thrive. People like myself want to get on the radio and act like I'm smart, and this is what's happening. Well, we know what's happening, but we don't prepare for what's coming. Right? And so what are we doing now to prepare for the separation of the races? You know, everything that's happened to us, we saw what's happening. What's happening in Chicago right now comes from, I heard some man from Chicago speaking this morning where he was saying, our leadership brought these illegal Hispanic or Hispanics into our community. They didn't take them to their community. and they dropped them off in our community, and now they're saying, okay, there they are. They're with the black people. Go and arrest them. All of these things we saw coming when we saw it happening, but we don't prepare. So here's two suggestions I have for us on how we can prepare for the future. And I'm not the smartest one out here, so these are real simple. When it comes to thugs and bosses and mobs, everybody, all of them, from the Russians to the Jewish mobsters, to the Asian mobsters, the Italian mobsters, they all respect family. They all respect their family. We're the only ones who are portrayed, well, I won't say the only ones, but the ones that I've witnessed are portrayed as not caring for family. And more importantly than family is we got to get our children off of sugar and sweeteners immediately. Your children can't learn when they're full of the cereals that got all this sugar in it. And all of these sandwiches you go out and buy that's got salt and sugar and the sugary drinks. Thank you, Bishop.
All right, thank you for your call. I think, Antoine, he is right about our being more disciplined and serious. And I think one of the problems that we make is we personalize the immigration issue because we let them put us in that headspace or in that mindset. For example, we act like the migrant problem or the illegal immigrant problem is a problem of just Mexico. And we don't deal with the fact they're talking about Africans, they're talking about Haitians. And these people built this country, not like slaves like we did, but they worked the fields and the farms in red states. Talk about that, Antoine, because these people that they're calling all kind of names made some of the farmers that voted for Trump and some of the industry, the agrarian industrialists that funded Trump, they're the ones that used illegal immigrants, not us.
Well, Rev, there are two fronts on immigration. One, I think we let them isolate us to making us think immigration is a one-trick pony and only about the border. Immigration is a broad issue in America, and the border is not the only element of immigration, but we've let them pigeonhole us to make it only about the border, and I think that was a mistake on the Democrats' fault. And also, I think we've let them define us on the issue, trying to act as if immigration just came about when Donald Trump became president. Immigration was issued when Bush 1 was president, Bush 2 was president, and every other president. The question is, or the challenge is, how do we deal with it in a bipartisan way to meet the needs of America? And that feeds into the point that you just made. When you think about the farmers, you think about farming states, you think about the hospitality industry, and you think about the construction industry and every other industry you can imagine. Immigrants are a pivotal part to that, including research. And so now that Donald Trump is doing this deportation public relations stunt, you have farmers crying out not only about the tariffs, but they can't find workers. They can't do the jobs necessary to provide the services they've been creating and guaranteeing for so long. So now, as a result of Trump's own problems, Reverend Al, he's now talking about, by way of USDA, trying to give farmers some relief because of the problems he created. It's almost like Republicans want to set something on fire, go down the street, put on a firefighter uniform, and come back and say, here we are to put out the fire. And I think that's where the Democrats have to not only call them out for their hypocrisy, but highlight specific examples of where they have failed the American people on these things, like the immigration issue, in particular when it comes to workers.
Let's go to Donald in Milwaukee. Donald?
How you doing, Reverend Al?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm calling about a couple of calls ago. This guy was saying that he wanted the ICE people to come in get in the bad neighborhoods and do their thing as far as I guess eliminate the crime. I seen on Facebook this morning a couple of members of ICE. This is my first time seeing the actual event go into progress. They were in some Mexican neighborhood. And of course, it was two big guys, burly guys. Of course, they had their masks on, like ski masks. And they was handling this Mexican like he was.
It was in Chicago.
All right. The way they were throwing him to the ground, and they had this cord they were trying to wrap around his wrist. And every time he'll break loose and try to run, it was the second one grab him and throw him against his truck. And of course, they had the Mexicans
I'm about to send you a video.
Surrounding him, saying, leave him alone, leave him alone, leave him alone. They were just like, forget y'all, and this went on for about 15 minutes. And there were so many his fellow people out there gathering around these two members of ICE that they had to break loose and run.
Yeah, well, see, I think our engineer said that it was Chicago, what you saw. What I saw is they came in so reckless that they maced even some of the local police. There was a policewoman and a policeman that was maced. I mean, but again, I think that the caller, Rod, mixed apples and oranges. ICE and the National Guard are not there for crimes unless it is somebody they're illegal. So this whole thing about help them get the bad guys out, the bad guys that do the robberies and the gangbang and all that, that is not their function. They're not trained in that. The Chicago police or the Portland police, if they get in there or wherever they are, that is what they do. They're coming in on top of them against the wishes of the local mayor and the governor that has the confidence in the police. Crime was going down in these cities. Homicides was going down. So how do you tell them that they ought to work together with people that are only trained to grab people that they consider or suspect to be here illegally? It's total different situations. Antoine?
I think the ICE are the bad guys themselves. The way they be mishandling folks.
Well, the ones I saw are certainly bad. Antoine, you got anything you want to add to that?
I think you put a spot on, Rep.
All right. All right, let me take my break. Thank you for your call. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, It may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their home, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Democratic presidential candidate, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you. Tonight, I want to address my remarks in two parts. One, I'm honored to address the delegates here. Last Friday, I had the experience in Detroit of hearing President George Bush make a speech. And in the speech, he asked certain questions. I hope he's watching tonight. I would like to answer your questions, Mr. President. To our chairman, our delegates, and all that are assembled, we're honored and glad to be here tonight. I'm glad to be joined by supporters and friends from around the country. I'm glad to be joined by my family, Kathy, Dominique, who will be 18, and Ashley. We are here 282 years after, right here in Boston, we fought to establish the freedoms of America. The first person to die in the Revolutionary War is buried not far from here, a black man from Barbados named Crispus Attucks. 40 years ago, In 1964, Fannie Lou Hamer and the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party stood at the Democratic Convention in Atlantic City fighting to preserve voting rights for all Americans and all Democrats regardless of race or gender. Hamer's stand inspired Dr. King's March in Selma, which brought about the Voting Rights Act of 1965. 20 years ago, Reverend Jesse Jackson stood at the Democratic National Convention in San Francisco, again appealing to preserve those freedoms. Tonight, we stand with those freedoms at risk and our security as citizens in question. I have come here tonight to say the only choice we have to preserve our freedom at this point in history is to elect John Kerry, the President of the United States. I stood with both John Kerry and John Edwards over 30 occasions in debates during the primary season. And I rated them, I watched them, I observed their deeds, I looked into their eyes. I am convinced that they are men who say what they mean and mean what they say. I am also convinced that at a time when a vicious spirit in the body politic of this country that attempts to undermine America's freedoms, our civil rights, our civil liberties, we must leave this city and go forth and organize this nation for victory for our party and John Kerry and John Edwards in November. But let me quickly say, this is not just about winning an election. It's about preserving the principles on which this very nation was founded. Look at the current view of our nation worldwide as a result of our unilateral foreign policy. We went from unprecedented...
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Antoine Seawright is our co-host. Bishop James Johnson is writing, "Good afternoon, Reverend Al. Thank you for all that you do. My question wasn't Trump sworn and put his hand on the Bible, and if so, can he be held accountable or not fulfilling the oath for what he swore as president? And if not, what was it all for?" And I think that is a good question. He definitely put his hand on the Bible. He definitely swore things he's not upholding in the Constitution. And I think that is a relevant, prevalent question we need to ask over and over again. Let me go to Tommy in Chicago. Tommy, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Seawright.
Well, Reverend President, afternoon to you, and if you don't mind, I'd like to start with Mr. Seawright. You know, the only thing you left out of your analogy, Antoine, when you said first they start the fire and then they go back to the fire department and they put on the fire department outfit and they come back. I guess what most people forget is then they spray more gas on the fire. So we're in a hell of a fire right now. But Rev, what I got to say is I hope I could just get paid for every time I hear some individual that has not embraced their culture, absolutely have no understanding of their reality when they come on the air talking about what black people cannot do. And more importantly, I have just been absolutely floored. You don't have to be cynical. You can't, no matter how much you tell people, hey, now, you know what, you need to stop with all this name calling and all the rest of it. and take a deep breath? Because your clear understanding and the things, Rev, if you heard the stuff that's coming out of Chicago after Miss Fortain called you and told you, how long ago did she tell you, Rev, right on the air nationally, that these people were here in Chicago? I'm out here in the south suburb. I've been watching the helicopters go by, only to find out the other night that one of them Black Hawks that I told people when it landed in California that he was on his way to Chicago, and that the man is trying to instill martial law, because the only somebody following the law is we the people. And we're supposed to be, in order to form a better government, now is the moment and the time for the colored people, Negro, Afro-American, whether you came out of a shell, out from under a rock, to just be still and watch the show. Because you're watching the makings of a civil war that has nothing to do with us other than our stinking thinking, our lack of accountability, when you simply ask the question, what the hell did you get out of your no vote, your support, political assassination? How then do you turn around and talk about your women, your seniors, your babies? And Rev, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. But I'm hearing pastors come out their mouth talking about what black people can and cannot do, and we're all messed up. You know, we're only messed up because how long have you been on the battlefield? And now you got Antoine Seawright. So as a result of the both of you, I've now gone crazy too. I've joined the Hate Age Society. I'm out, man, because you can't make any of this up. And it's not, you know what, I'm laughing, but it's not funny. Because, Rev, now I understand when you would give me an opportunity to speak on your show, why I would be all hysterical, emotional, having been in Vietnam, having come back here, having been spit on, and then stop and think about why I was whining and crying. It was the best moments and times of my life. I have lived all of this to the point that when I die, I can stand in front of the Lord Jesus or whoever is up there doing their accountability and just simply say thank you, because I recognize and understand we must be them individuals, because you cannot make any of this that's happening up in 2025 now. Thank you. God bless both of you. And for the love of God, I wish that another black person who called in and started talking about how the hell did we get here? Just how did we get here if it wasn't for principled people? I'm sorry for cursing. You don't have to do that. But after all, I'm Reverend Reality, and I can't cuss. Goodbye.
Reverend Reality, I like that. Let's go to the phone. Let's go to Andre J. in Chicago.
Hey, good afternoon to you, Reverend. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Seawright. And I want to make a comment about, thank you. I want to make a comment about Mike Jackson, but I really wish Tommy would learn a little bit more respect, because, like I say, I like Reverend Al, I like you, Seawright, and to offend either of you is to offend me as well. But Tommy, watch your language when you call. This is still the Reverend that we're talking with on here. And I'm from Chi-Town, and you represent me, so if you're from Chi-Town, get your act together. Rev, look, man, I've been watching the TV on the weekend. I watched Christian Welker, and I'm disappointed because it's like they let Mike Johnson get away with these lies. And it don't look like to me that the Democratic Party got a good opposition research team. They need a good opposition research team. I tell you why. Because when Mike Johnson goes around and lies, they just let that be the narrative, when what Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries should have been doing is bringing up the amicus briefs and bring up what Leah Cheney said about Mike Johnson and to check on his character. This is what they should have done. It's like Mike Johnson is nobody to be trusted. You can't believe nothing he say because he done lied in the past. He even lied to his own people about the amicus briefs, and he's an election denier. They are letting people forget that Mike Johnson was election denier. He tried to help Donald Trump steal the election. So who would trust his word? Who would trust anything that he say about this government shutdown? He's not to be trusted. So that's what I think. They need a good opposition research team. What you say, Mr. Seawright?
Well, you're right. I think you can never do enough when it comes to highlighting their fires, their lying, and their mischaracterization of the facts. In some communities, they call that lying. And I think that every chance we get, not only should the Democratic party be doing it, but these news outlets that have these folks on should be checking them in real time, because sometimes when fact checks come from us, people see it as fake news, but when they happens in real time while they're on television or while they're on the radio, it helps. And because that's happening in some regards, that's why you have seen them calm down with the lie about illegal aliens receiving health care. You didn't see them use that narrative all weekend, because every twist and turn they say that, someone calls them out and calls it a lie.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear that, Reverend C. Wright. And if you're around them, encourage them to keep doing the same thing. The truth is the best disinfectant, and letting these lies set the narrative is be bad during the midterms. Thank you, C. Wright. Thank you, Reverend.
All right, thank you for your call. Lola in Philadelphia, WURD. Lola.
Happy belated birthday, Reverend Al.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I just wanted to say, who didn't see this coming about with Trump targeting black people? I mean, that's been his thing all along. He wanted to see how he could push the boundaries and go over and overstep the law to get to Hispanics and Cubans and Venezuelans.
Hold 1 minute.
And
Let me take my break.
Okay.
I'll come right back to you. Keeping it real. Sharpton. See right.
Thing past hope. Because, I grew up, like I said, single mama on welfare. And my mother told me there's a part in life that hope's gonna run out. But she told me you got a double barrel in your engine. I said, what is that? She said, you can switch from hope to faith. Faith is a little deeper than hope. Bishop Hilliard is here. Faith is when hope runs out. Faith is the substance of things. Hope for the evidence of things not seen. Faith is when we were emancipated after 246 years of slavery and walked off the plantations with no education, no money, no future. And we built black churches and black colleges and black fraternities. We had faith. Faith made us stand up to the most powerful nation in the world and turn it around. Faith means we went from the back of the bus to the front of the White House. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed us.
Stop going through your life like you are a co-star or a bit player in your own drama. No, you are the main star. You're the central figure in your life. What you decide is what is the major thrust of your life. And others may contribute, impact, affect, but it's your life that you're central in. So stop trying to lay the weight of what you do or don't do on others. That weight is squarely on your shoulders and in your hand. And if you want to defer and give your life choices to others, that's on you. If they have any sense at all, they will be so busy trying to conduct and properly guide their life, they will not have time to try to major in your life. Hey, what's up? They got, they're doing, thank you. They're doing, what's on your mind? Yeah. All right, then, we got a birthday this week. I got to talk about that.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday this weekend. And Carrie White's birthday, right?
Corey's birthday is today.
Yeah, and I got to tell Reverend Bird to read Daniel 5th chapter. I want him to read. And I'm ready. Got a message from today, so we'll be on the air in what? Half hour.
About a half hour.
You should tune in to the WBLS 107.5 FM and National Impact and www.nationalnetwork.net. All right, I'm ready. Make sure you operate on time or I'll tell them I owe y'all.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building
Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Antoine Seawright is our co-host. Don't forget Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC every Saturday and Sunday. And I don't waste your time. I have on either the members of the Senate or the House. I had both on yesterday. Senator Blumenthal, Congressman Meeks, the governor, the mayor rather of Chicago, and I'm going to ask them the hard questions. And I'm going to make sure that our community's interests are on the table. So watch it every Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. You that in the New York area, you beat me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally. I'm there every Saturday. I'll be there this Saturday. Had a packed house, overflow really, on last Saturday, and expect the same now. We must be informed and be inspired to be active. So come to the Saturday Action Rally, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. Or you that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on nationalactionnetwork.net, live stream, or on Impact Television. Antoine, let's go back to Lola. Lola? Yes, you're on.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So what I was saying was that who didn't see this coming as black people, because Trump has been talking about he want to bring back the stop and frisk. He wants to do all this stuff, and all this stuff is going to impact black people. And I think that now at this time we are going to have to. Well, we're trying to do as much as we can, but we have 7.5 months until the next election, the major election, which is in May. We have an election coming up in November in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, but the next major election where we can turn over, I believe the House is in May 2026. And so all of this stuff he's trying to push through the Project 2025. He's railroading it, like just railroading, like a train running over cars, just going straight down the tracks, because he knows in 2026, May 2026, we're going to vote those people out. And I think the most important thing is that black people have to see that this is an attack on us. It's been an attack on us, and we can't just sit by and stand by and let this stuff happen. He's did the SNAP. He's already put in the stuff for the people who are living in rental assistance, the HUD. I mean, they're destroying everything. And then, Reverend Al, what about the judge who her house was firebombed? House was firebombed after she struck down his request to bring the National Guard into Portland. So we see all these acts of violence. He doesn't speak on anything. We had another mass shooting in Alabama. He doesn't speak on that. We have all this stuff going on. What this man is trying to do, and also with this this thing with Israel and Gaza, and Ukraine, he's trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize. But the thing is, those two men who run those countries, who are actual dictators, they don't want to play nice with him. They don't want to do this. They saying, no, we run you, you don't run us, because that's what Trump wants. He wants to get this peace thing done so he can look like this big man and get a Nobel Peace Prize while he's sitting around destroying the country, while people don't even have their rent paid and don't have food and stuff like that. All the rent, everything is high, everywhere is high, and he's worried about what's going on there so he can get a Nobel Peace Prize while destroying our country. And then to have people drop down like this is a movie in Chicago on black women and children and black men, this is the design all along, people. Read Project 2025 and vote in May 2026. And then my last thing, Reverend Al, when we get back into control, the Democrats, please, I implore them. I know they listen to your show. Do not play nice. Do the things that you have to do to change this country around. And I really wish that people in charge, the politicians, would think about, we have to tear this up, Reverend Al, and change this Constitution, change the writing, change all this stuff. The stuff that our forefathers wrote is not for today. Trump has showed that. He has pushed past the guardrails. He's shown that it doesn't stand. All you have to do is just keep pushing and pushing, get the right people in, and the Supreme Court, and they will do what you want. We have to be able to not play nice. All of that talking about we're going to work across the aisle, okay, you can still do that and still put your hand down and say, but this is what we're going to do in the meanwhile. How's your wife? But we still want to take you to task for all the stuff that you've done to us. And I'm not saying go back and forth, but I'm saying put these things down. Don't play with them, because they have shown us they don't care what we say. They don't care what we do. They're going to do what they want to do. And Project 2025 is the blueprint of what they're trying to railroad before May 2026 comes.
And they wrote it out and put it out, and we did not take it seriously enough. Thank you for your call. Let me go, I think democracy.fund is saying we need over 100 more likes daily by Halloween, Nan family, and do that. I think that's right. You that work social media, work it. And a reporter just called me and talked about, I saw your ratings on Politics Nation. He says, "What are he talking about? They low?" He said they're very high. You beat CNN, but y'all got to understand, we have to support the shows. It's not enough to say, "Oh yeah, Mal, I watch it" or whatever. You got to do the likes. You have to do the turn on the TV those hours. So you go ahead. So that when a guy like Trump lies, everybody say no, the facts are not there. Let's go to Jihad, the sage from the South. Jihad, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and C-Rack.
Hey, Brother Sharpton and Brother C-Rack.
Hi.
I'm going to follow the thought of the previous two callers. You know, we don't have to become evil to undo this thing. We just have to become active to counter this particular movement. And the way the Constitution is structured, it's not structured to go back and forth with evil. It's structured for good people to make a stand. Our issue has been, I think a couple calls earlier, the brother said our issue has been we haven't made a stand. You know what I mean? We haven't prepared, I think is what he said. We talked about it coming. I remember clearly talking about 2025 and how that should be the topic of discussion in every church and mosque service, every meeting that we have 24/7. You know what I mean? Because it was that important. Now, if we didn't implement that plan and then we get stuck, the problem was our non-implementation of the plan, and now we're reporting it as it happened, as if we didn't know it was going to happen. And they were so comfortable in what they did, Reverend Al, they even put the book out. There's a book you could buy, a 2025 book that you could buy and see what they were planned on doing and what they're doing. I heard a black man say last week, I think, that they're only like 40 to 50% through a plan. That means that we can now still have an opportunity to put a dot in the other 50% that's taking place. But if we sit back and wait for it to happen and then talk about it on the news, then we got an issue. And those news commentators, even CNN, they don't counter nothing these people say. You know what I mean? They just they put the Democrat on the defensive, and then when the Republican is on, they just roll right with whatever the Republicans say. But I do have faith, because even though they're doing that, the polls say that the people blame Donald Trump 39% for this issue. You know what I mean? So the effort that the Democrats are doing is working, and the effort that we need to put forth along with the Democrat will help us put this thing in proper perspective. And just because the devil puts his hand on a Bible don't mean that he's telling the truth.
You got that right. And I'm getting text messages that he never really put his hand all the way down on the Bible. I would not doubt it. I would not doubt it. Thank you for your call. Always good to hear from you, Jihad. Let me go to Ray in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ray, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and C-Rack.
Yes, sir, Ray. Thanks for taking my call. Maybe you can straighten me out on a few things, because I'm under the impression that because the Republicans have the House, Trump can bring in these ICE agents, and it almost seems like they're terrorizing the cities that they're in. So if Democrats can take the House back, can they stop these ICE agents from coming into these cities, or this is through a Trump's executive order, and there's nothing that Democrats can do? Do you know that?
Antoine?
For sure.
There's nothing really Democrats can do, because, of course, the White House has the ability to do these things by executive order, or at least on the House front. Of course, they can hold hearings and accountability measures, try to slimmen up their budgets, but there's nothing they can do by way of that. But what you see happening in some of these places is that the attorney generals of these states are actually suing the Trump administration, and some of these battles are being played out in court. On the other hand, Trump is ignoring the court rulings on many cases, like in Portland and others, and still bulldogging ahead with sending the troops in spite of what the court's saying. So we've got to figure out how we balance that part.
Yeah, and this is my opinion, Rev. What everything Trump is doing with these ICE agents and bringing the National Guard into these cities, it's almost like they're normalizing now. But when it comes time to vote, a lot of these immigrants, whether they're legal or illegal, they won't be nowhere to be seen, because they're scared that they may round them up. Is this a ploy by Trump to actually scare voters from not coming out and voting?
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I think that if he could intimidate voters and it affect the voting turnout, that he wins because he feels his voters know that they're not being looked upon as possible illegal immigrants. So I think that's why the Democrats and those opposed to Trump have to do mass voter education, mass voter turnout, bringing people to the polls and all, to get by him trying to impose that fear. I absolutely think it's a possibility that he has that as a strategy. But my thinking always has been, if they have a strategy, you have to have a counter strategy that's more effective than theirs. That's the way you fight fights. You don't want to sit there and hope luck will turn or maybe they'll stumble. No, you got to be prepared to fight. I hear the music. I have to go. Let me thank Antoine Seawright. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it